Hello, Jamie Rodgers here from Craftmania, and today I'm back introducing you to this week's Die of the Week. Now, this is our first one as we move through June, and if you haven't been keeping up with these already, we have had many Dies of the Week over the last few weeks that are all at amazing prices, and I believe the majority are still in stock. So if you haven't seen our previous videos, you might like to go and have a little look at them as well as this one. But today we are taking a little look at Rebecca. Now, Rebecca is one of Sue Wilson's frames and tags dies. Now, I love Sue's frames and tag collection because there's so many options of what we can create with these. And I'm going to show you the dies, and I'm going to show you how you can lay them out to create different unique ways and uses for them. But before we do that, let's talk about our offer. Now, being a die of the week, that means we bring it to you on one incredible special offer. So this one should be £14.50, but its offer price is just £6.50. Now, if you're shopping with us here in the UK, that also means you're going to qualify for free U.K P&P. Anytime you spend over £5 with Craftmania, you receive that free U.K P&P. Now, if you're watching this and you see the cards and you're really inspired and you'd like it, but you don't live in the UK, do not panic, we ship everything worldwide. Now, our worldwide or international shipping as such is capped at just £10 per order. Now, if you pop onto our website and have a little look under the customer service tab, it will tell you about how our international shipping works. But as I say, the most you'll pay is £10. If we find it cheaper than that, we'll actually refund the difference for you. Now, with our Rebecca die, as I mentioned, there are 4 different dies in here. I've made 7 cards with them, and hopefully that will give you a bit of inspiration on what you could be creating with this one. Now, all of the items I'm going to share with you coming up on the cards, and of course our lovely Rebecca die, can be found on the website. So head on to www.craftmaniacrafts.com. Now, when you land on the website, you might be on a mobile device. If so, you'll have a drop-down menu, or you might be on a desktop, and if you are, there'll be a menu bar that runs right there across the middle. On either one of our menus, have a little look for the bit that says YouTube. If you click that, it will take you through to a page where we put up a different box for every YouTube video that we share. Now, this one, of course, is our Die of the Week Rebecca one that you need to click. And if you head on through to that one, you will find all of the items that I'm talking about, whether it be the die or the cardstock or the gems or any of the bits we're about to have a little look at. We stock over 10,000 items on the Craftmania website, and I don't want you to have to go searching for all of them to find a shader card or a gem or a bit of glitter. So everything I've used on the cards I'm going to be sharing with you will be on that one page for you. Now, of course, you can order on the website, as I mentioned, free U.K P&P anytime you spend over £5. You can also order via phone. Our phone number is 01493 843 666. And of course, you can shop in store with us at Craftmania Essentials, located in Great Yarmouth. So, without further ado, let's delve on in and have a little look through what you could be creating with this incredible die, and hopefully give you a bit of inspiration. So with our die then, we've actually got 4 dies to this one set. Now, beautifully on the front here, it shows you what that's going to look like. What Sue's also done for you is put some inspiration on the inside that just shares with you 4 ideas on what you could be creating with this die set. Now, with the die set, you actually receive 4 dies. Now, this is brilliant because it gives you the most options to get creative with the shape that Sue could have possibly given you. So you've got here your outside edge and your main filigree panel. Now, these 2 alone create lots of different options for you. This one, if you don't use that outside edge, will actually stay in your cardstock. There's no outside blade or insert blade attached. So what you see will actually be cut like fretwork into the front of your card or into the panel that you're working on. You then have the outside edge. Now, this has a couple of good uses to it. A, we can use that to create an aperture in our card if we'd like to. We can nest the filigree panel inside this one so it actually cuts out as a freestanding item. It also means that we can cut solid panels to go underneath our filigree panel. So maybe you wish to have a different colour shine through from underneath. That is going to be the easiest way for you to cut that one to put under there to shine through. You then have 2 more dies. Now, you've got an outside edge and you've got a small filigree panel. Now, very similar to these ones, we can use these to cut our apertures. We can use them together to cut that out as an item. We can leave this one in our cardstock by cutting that in if we wish to. Or of course we can start nesting these two in with our main die to create even more options. So for a start off, that one can go on the inside, that can then cut out that aperture, so you could then tie ribbons through it, build up little scenes in there, bring out a banner maybe or a sentiment, just to give you different options. Or of course it means that we can leave this one off, bring in our insert filigree panel, and we can create an even more lacy panel to build up on top of if you don't wish to have that aperture in there. They're just a few of the options that that set's going to give you just by having them 4 different pieces to actually make up your one set. Now, when we bring these in and we start getting creative with them, we can create so many lovely effects just by yo-yoing through those ideas that I was just giving you. So for instance, this is the first card I wanted to share with you. This is using the 2 filigree panels, so you've got the largest and the smallest, and I've just taken these 2 dies and I've cut them directly into the cardstock, the panel you see running across the back here. I've not used the outside edges, and in that way they're going to stay in the cardstock. And I've done them, as you can see, pretty much next to each other with about ½ inch gap, maybe 3/4 inch gap in between them. I've then used my same panels to create the cutout to go on the top here, which I've layered with some foam tape to build that one up, using a solid coconut white base and then cutting this panel with this one and this one into the blue to put on top. So it just gives you that ability to work between cutting into your card or cutting out your separate layers. Now also on this card, you're going to notice our lovely elegant lady taking her stroll with her lovely little doggy here. Now this is one of the dies that we launched on our Sunday video, along with this little banner too. These are part of our Art Deco collection. Now if you've not seen Sunday's video, I would urge you to go and have a little look. Not only do we share with you an amazing Art Deco collection of dies, we also have a brand new special offer on some trio of embossing folders. We also have for you 15% off Eleganza pearls, which you'll see several of those used through today's video as well. And on top of that, we also launched 15% off our Glitter Bits glitters. So if you haven't seen that video, you might like to go and have a little look at it. And that again is where our lovely elegant lady comes from. Now, all of the bits I've just mentioned, the gems, the lady, the embossing folders, you're going to see there are lots of them on our cards that I'm about to share with you. I will put all of those once again on our Die of the Week page on our YouTube section. So if you do wish to find just those and just those alone, then you can pop on there and find them too without having to go searching. But if you wish to, there is also a page dedicated to the Sunday video, which will have even more goodies on there too. Then moving on to our next creation. So this time I've used, very similarly to how I've built up this middle panel on the blue one, I've used the filigree panel with the insert and the outside edge to cut my top one out of ivory card. I've then cut one out of gold mirror card, just using that outside edge so that I can have the gold shining through from underneath it. I've used a blending brush to come in with some Seedless Preserves Oxide ink to colour the edges of my die cut and the edges of the card up below, and of course my flowers and leaves. Now these are from the Art Deco set that I was mentioning, the same set that our lovely strolling lady comes from, and I've just coloured them, as I mentioned, with the oxide inks, and I've added some little gold dots with a gel pen to add in some more interest. You will also see this embossing folder launched on that video as well. Now, moving on to our next card. So showing you a slightly different version again, talking about using our cut-ins, cut-out options. This time I've used just the outside edge, but I've cut it out from wisteria cardstock, leaving me that opening. I've then taken the filigree panels, just both of these, the main one and the slightly smaller one, and I've cut them out of coconut white card, and I've glued that underneath the wisteria frame. I've then foam padded that on top of gold mirror card to give me that sort of shadow of gold coming through from underneath it. I've added to my frame our lovely elegant lady once again, which I've created a drop shadow with some gold mirror card and added a few more details with a gold gel pen. In the corner here, I've used the Art Deco flowers once again, cut from the wisteria card to match in with the layers that you can see used throughout. And I've also used coconut white card to cut the leaves that I've once again added little gold dots to, just to infill those areas and give them a bit more interest. We once again have the little banner coming in. I love this little banner. I'm obsessed with using this. So far you've seen it on each of the free cards I've shared with you. This is actually the banner that the plane is carrying from the Art Deco set, but I've found it the perfect little panel to actually stamp my sentiments on, so that the sentiments aren't too dramatic, and let that lovely Rebecca panel and all of the other bits that I'm sort of using shine through. So that's a nice little addition to show you. Also on Sunday's video, we mentioned that we had taken 15% off our Glitter Bits glitters. This one here is created using our Periwinkle Glitter Bits glitters. So this time I've used the filigree panel, I've used the outside edge. I feel a bit like I'm playing Cluedo when I do this. It's like this, and this in the room. It's not, I assure you, but it does give me the Cluedo vibes. So with this one, I've used these three to cut out my coconut white piece. I've then used just these two without the filigree to cut out of a self-adhesive sheet. I've placed the self-adhesive sheet underneath our filigree panel and I've infilled with that periwinkle glitter so that we've got that shimmer come through. I've used one of Sue's flags dies as a banner to add into here, and I've stamped my little sentiment on it, again adding the periwinkle glitter through the openings on the edges of this one. I've also used some double-sided tape around a piece of card to create a periwinkle border to match in on my layers. This embossing folder you can see in the background is also one of the ones that is in the trio, along with this design here that's in that lovely offer trio that we launched on Sunday, that if you've not seen you might wish to check out as well. Then moving on, nice and simple card. This was actually the last one I did with this Rebecca die, and I wanted to share with you just how easy this could be to do. So this time I've used my filigree panel, I've used those two edges, just like we did on the last one to cut out the coconut white one, and I've used these two pieces, just like we did on the last one for the self-adhesive sheet, but this time cutting it out of the blue cardstock to glue underneath that layer. I've then posted in my little sentiment panel again, die cutting my sentiment this time so it matches colour-wise, added a few flowers on here, and again a few of them pearls that you'll find with 15% off on the website too. Then on to our next one. So this time I've worked with our custard cardstock. I love our custard cardstock. It's so subtle and so elegant, and one of my favourites to work with. So this time we've got the Art Deco flowers with these beautiful sun pearls in the middle, again with your 15% off on those. I've got that banner coming in from the plain set once again. I've also got the lovely embossing folder that I've mentioned already. For our Rebecca die this time, I've used, very similarly to what we have been doing, I've used these two pieces to cut out of the custard cardstock. I've used this one to cut out of our coconut white, layered that underneath, and then I've taken my two insert pieces, put them together and cut that out of coconut white and glued that to the top of the custard one, just to build up this different style. I could have quite easily also cut that out of another colour and put it underneath there and then foam padded that to give me a bit more height here, but I knew the flowers I was going to be adding to this one were quite prominent and I didn't want to add too much height in too many areas. Then on to our last card. This is showing you a slightly different idea of what you could be creating with the Rebecca die. This time I have taken all three of my panels, leaving out that middle panel, so I don't need this one, left that one out of the way, taken these three and I've cut that from coconut white card 3 times. I've then taken just the outside and cut that from the wisteria cardstock to make the panel to go underneath this one. The other times I've cut them, I've then trimmed them in half, the other two that I had, trimmed them directly in half on a guillotine and stuck them onto the wisteria to make up this pattern going around the edge. Now, if you're paying attention to my random ramblings, I would be impressed, but what you might not have spotted is that this panel to go underneath this one is actually where I've got the frame from to create this card. So again, everything is thought of, everything can be used. So what you might feel is your waist can come together for your next card, showing you how it can all work together. On top of this one, I've added the Marigold die set from John Next Door, and I've added that with the Art Deco leaves. I've once again added in the little banner with a stamp sentiment too. So I hope that gives you a few ideas of what you could be creating with this die set. They're such a fun one to work with. I made these 7 cards quite quickly because the ideas just kept flowing, and I really enjoyed working with these to create these panels and cards to hopefully give you a bit of inspiration. Now, as I mentioned earlier, your die is reduced to just £6.50. It should be £14.50. And if you'd like to get your hands on this one, just head on to www.craftmaniacrafts.com, head for the YouTube section and have a little look for the Rebecca Die of the Week page. And then on there, everything we've been talking about, from our lovely elegant lady, our banners, our stamps, our pearls, everything will be on that one page for you to have a little look through. And then of course you can pop through your order. Anytime you spend over £5, your P&P is completely free in the UK. And if you wish to receive these internationally, then your P&P is capped at just £10. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope it's given you a bit of inspiration. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see you all again really, really soon with our next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.